Welcome back to another Let's Play on Metal Gear. Where we left off is we just got back to Monday, so power up, we're trying to do some missions.
Gaining altitude.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Development project has been added.
A lot of fucking shit. Ocelot's briefings.
Mission list updated.
Boss, I know you haven't been back long, but I prepared a list of missions for you. Open your iDroid.
British sovereign base area on Cyprus. It's part of British overseas territory that falls outside of Cypriot jurisdiction.
I've taken the job offers Diamond Dogs has received and made a list of those I want you to consider. Which ones you accept is your call. The objectives of the missions I've added are prisoner rescue, facility sabotage, and high-value target elimination. Probably all a walk in the park for you, but they should help you get back on your feet. I put the mission details on a cassette tape. Refer to it if you decide to accept the mission.
Episode 3, A Hero's Way.
Your target is a Spetsnaz detachment commander. Your orders are to take him out. With skills like his, it'd be a shame to waste him. But I'll leave the method up to you. Boss, make your way to Deshago Calais and eliminate the target.
So, I think what we're going to try to do is take him back alive if possible. Not have another cause incident happen.
Be careful down there, boss.
Updated. Marker placed.
Where all the people just kinda shoot me and whatnot, and this time we're gonna be super duper sneaky and whatnot.
You have arrived at your destination.
Whoa!
You have arrived at your destination.
You've arrived at the objective. Your target should be somewhere in that outpost. And don't forget, he has a Spetsnaz recon detail with him. Keep your guard up. That searchlight's manually operated.
A Soviet soldier. A lot of them came from Central Asia before, but lately they've been using more and more Russians.
Simple, really. There's less hesitation to pull the trigger if they're not fighting their own race. Morbid cynicism, but it gets results. That's humanity. Is that him? Take a good look at their faces so we can ID the targets. That's the sturdiest building in the area. It'd be perfect for the target to hole up in.
Do some recon and whatnot. I think that's everybody. So let's be super sneaky and whatnot. I kind of want to just like ghost this mission, but I know that we need people. This guy doesn't even know.
That crack would make a good foothold. You can use crack climbing to make your way up.
That's a thing. So we got one. Okay, I know. This is path right over here. Shit.
gotta say it would be a waste to kill him. But putting him to sleep doesn't count as eliminating him. Neither does knocking him out. Those materials have already been processed. It may not be much, but we can use them straight away if you bring them back to base.
Cool, just throw them up here.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Target secured. I'll tell the client we sent the target to a place outside of heaven. Boss, your objective's complete. Exfiltrate out of the hot zone by chopper or on land. Don't hang around.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Exfiltrated.
That's it. You've made it out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss. Mission complete, and how? They're gonna tell stories about this one, boss.
Perfect stuff. Rank S. Let's go. Getting that heroism.
How you feeling, boss? Getting used to being in the field again? Having choppers and a horse at your disposal is indispensable for operating in the wilds of Afghanistan. I've gone ahead and arranged for you to be able to develop and customize weaponry for support choppers. And you can also develop new equipment for D-Horse if you like. Use your iDroid to start development as needed.
Hell yeah. Elite soldiers. A plus. Hell yeah, bruh. What else do we get? We got a D level and an E level. Okay.
Side ops list
The
updated.
side ops list is comprised of problems we need you to resolve, objectives to be completed, and information gained from the soldiers and prisoners you've extracted. These aren't missions per se, but if you can take care of them when you're free, I'd appreciate it.
Let's get a Russian interpreter.
He said I was in a British military hospital, but the doctor had a Greek accent. They hire locally. Easier to trust them. Kelly is also home to Greek Cypriots, after all. What about the Turks? They haven't returned to the south. Not yet. The Cyprus dispute is still a long way from resolved. The country is just as split as it was in '74. Turkish Cypriots in the north, Greek Cypriots in the south. Between them, the Green Line, the UN established. And Decalia sits right on top of it. It does. Part of the buffer zone between the two groups.
Let's see what else.
Another reason it was the perfect place to hide you.
Okay.
Easy to spot any outsiders snooping around. So how do things stand? Now, last year, the Turks declared that the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is an independent state, though it's only Turkey that recognizes it. In the past, the Greeks and Turks lived side by side in the same villages. There are reasons to fight. Those came from the outside. Greece, Turkey, Britain, America. They all have their own stake in pitting the two sides against each other. But once you spark something like this, it's impossible to control. Both sides build up grudges like death, without the foresight to see that each act of revenge just fans the flames. And then it's too late for other nations to rush in with peace talks. The embers keep on smoldering. Each nation's arrogance only breeds anarchy. The world is paralyzed by this hunger for revenge. Cyprus is no different. You're up.
We're changing ships?
We can't go sailing the Suez in a whaler.
The Suez Canal. When did they reopen it?
Not long after you were attacked. Once they finished sweeping it for mines after the Arab-Israeli conflict. Can you stand? We're going to transfer to a container ship for passage through the Suez. Our destination is Pakistan,
So
Afghanistan's neighbor to the south. There we disembark and head via Peshawar to the Zero Line, the border. We'll travel to the Khyber Pass by road.
And then?
We continue on horseback. Afghanistan's main roads are under Soviet control. We'll need to go around them. It'll be all narrow, winding paths through the mountains. We'll do better on horseback. It's a local guerrilla tactic. They use the higher ridges to avoid air recons. Then they charge down the mountains for ambushes. The Soviets still haven't devised a counter-strategy. Our time frame is only half as much as we really need. It's gonna be a tough march.
Better horses than boats.
Well, it'll make for good physiotherapy. Take the time to get used to that new arm.
While the Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles Olympics, primarily because the United States has made no attempt to guarantee the safety of the Soviet Union's athletes, the United States is increasingly demonstrating the belief that the issue has nothing to do with its preparations, and in fact this is retaliation for the Western nations' boycott of the previous Moscow Olympics. That concludes today's news.
That's quite some news.
The Soviet Union not attending the LA Olympics?
Supply drop
Andropov's death has changed some things. They're calling it revenge for the Western boycott of the Moscow Olympics.
Countries boycotted the Moscow Olympics.
Yes. In protest of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. Over 50 countries were absent. It's too bad I didn't get to see Yamashita's judo. When the 40th Army crossed the Amu River 4 years ago, détente went right out the window. The U.S. Congress chose not to ratify SALT II, and Reagan's hardline politics won him the presidency in a landslide. According to him, the Soviet Union's an evil empire.
The Second Cold War.
And there's been no end to regional conflicts and civil wars. Lebanon, the Falklands, Grenada, Iran, Iraq. The story never changes. Egypt and Israel did sign a peace treaty. But then the driving force on the Egyptian side, President Sadat, was assassinated afterward. Apparently, his actions were considered a betrayal of his fellow Arabs.
Islamic extremists.
Yes, fundamentalist extremists have been responsible for some bold acts of terrorism in recent years. We've had extremist students in Iran take U.S. embassy workers hostage, and suicide bombings in Lebanon. Over 300 foreign soldiers stationed there have been killed. But countries have yet to develop an effective means of dealing with terrorism. Afraid of losing their own men, they've pulled their forces out, handing private forces a golden opportunity.
Private forces.
Small armies with no national affiliation, working for the highest bidder. That's right, they got the idea from you. After Mother Base went down, they began spreading to meet the soaring demand. Miller's organization is just one of many PFs now. The entire world is after you. But at the same time, it needs you too. Miller told me about what happened in the Caribbean 9 years ago. You do remember Miller. You'd formed a private army with him. An army with no allegiance to a nation.
I remember, but...
I see. You're not sure what's fact and what's a fantasy caused by the coma. It's still all a mess, huh? All I can do is tell you the facts as they were told to me. I've gone easy on you up until now. This is where the hard stuff begins.
So that's
1974, a year before you entered your coma. You were in Colombia, operating
Roger.
a small unit of men, basically mercenaries. Miller was among them. Miller was trying to find a way to turn his and your talents into a line of work. He was looking to start a business where you would fight on behalf of others around the world, those who needed military force. But the reality was, at that time, you didn't have enough gear to equip your own men. Then Miller came across this client. It was a huge job he was offering, but you had a shot at pulling it off. You accepted it and headed into Costa Rica. The client even threw in an offshore facility in the Caribbean. The mother base, that would be your new base of operations. Miller sure did have a head for business. As your mission went on, your unit grew and grew. More weapons, more money. Before you knew it, you were commanding 300 men. As the organization got bigger, your military powers swelled to match. It got so the international community couldn't afford to ignore you. You were just too damn successful for your own good. You, your men, had worn out your welcome. Everyone was out for you. East, West, First World, Third. It was only a matter of time before someone took you down. And that was XOF. Officially, they're an anti-terror unit under the CIA. In reality, they're Cypher's private strike force. They lured you to Cuba using Chico, the Nicaraguan revolutionary kid, and Paz, a mole who worked for Cypher as bait. While you were gone, XOF, posing as a nuclear inspection team, stormed Mother Base. At the same time, C4 they placed on the strut legs went off. The whole thing went down in minutes. XOF. Kisses and hugs, followed by a big F you.
Damn. There's some real backstory on this game.
By connecting your iDroid to the onboard computer, you turn the chopper into your own aerial command center, or ACC. Some elements of staff assignment and R&D of weapons and items can only be performed from there. Take as long as you need to consider all your options.
Almost, what do you call it? I'm close. All that, and I'm only like 2%. Means this game's probably super long. Let's continue listening to all these tapes.
Here, Snake, try this on.
A prosthetic arm.
Yeah, Miller was calling it the arm that wasn't there. The physiotherapy's going well. Your arm's bulked up enough for it to fit. There.
Oh shit.
A little time with it, and it'll work better than the real thing. What do you think?
I can still feel my real arm.
Well, you better get used to this one quick. You have any pain?
Every now and then.
Where?
My fingertips. My left fingertips.
Sounds like phantom pain. Your brain still remembers your old hand.
Yeah.
What about your vision? Can you see okay?
Yeah, at the moment.
Now, the shrapnel in your skull
That
is...
wild dog pup. He's a tough little guy. Boss, this is no time to be playing with animals.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do, boss?
Observation.
Your brain might process visual information incorrectly.
Shit.
In other words, you could have hallucinations.
Words.
You might see things that aren't there, and not see things as they really
Roger
are.
that. We'll pick him up.
Experience any of that?
I think so.
When?
Right after I wake up. Colors look faded.
Colors, huh? Well, that's not a major concern in and of itself, but it could mean the difference between life and death in the field. You'll need to watch out for that.
I will.
All right. You should continue your physio. We'll be arriving soon. It's the last chance you'll get.
We found out there's an English-speaking soldier somewhere in the region. He's a language specialist. His role is to translate information related to the West into Russian. If we can get him to join us, we'll have the upper hand in information warfare. Find this language specialist and extract him. to the target.
Let me find this English real quick.
Your girlfriend. Это было неплохо. Правда? Что это значит? Я друг твоего
That's
приятеля.
funny.
О, это действительно полезно. Три мелочи могут помочь в любовной войне, да? Точно. Эти слова могут стать твоей жизнью. Ха-ха, может быть. Ты должен научить меня еще чему-нибудь. Конечно, увидимся.
That Soviet soldier in the green beret is speaking English. Must be a language specialist. With him on our side, we'd be capable of Russian interpretation support. Try and extract him.
Here.
You gotta extract him.
Where are your friends? Spit it out.
Hey. So. The whole entire squad.
Arrived at your side op completed. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Boss, that language specialist you extracted has been very cooperative. Says he's always dreamed of living a free life, like folks in the West. What are the odds, huh? I've gone ahead and placed him in the support unit. His job is Russian interpretation. Now you'll know what Soviet soldiers are saying. You can even interrogate them. Should give you an edge in the mission.
Please select a mission.
That's pretty close.
Mission accepted. The map has been updated. Please select a drop point. Please select a drop point. Supplies requested.
Let's get some C4 up in this.
Supply drop complete. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Say, boss, you see many animals in the field. Truth is, an environmental NGO has asked us to remove wild animals from combat zones. If you have the time, can you extract some back here? There's a reward in it for us.
Easy. Side mission real quick.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
On tour. Speak English. Still. Bro, that's so cool. Like, I see this is like the 80s or some shit. And because like that's when the Cold War was, like for them to have like this technology, 80s. Ooh. Crazy. Crazy is what it really is. What the fuck?
Boss, you need to disable the Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network. Head for the Eastern Communications Post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
Oh my gosh, I'm so far.
You have arrived at your destination.
You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
Okay, so I just skipped ahead past the little fast travel area we had to do. Is that it?
First, you have to identify the targets. Recon the site with your binoculars. Once you know where the targets are, take them out to put their network out of action. How you do that is up to you. Thinking of using C4? It's an explosive that you detonate by remote control after you've planted it. That's an anti-air radar. It isn't one of the targets, but destroying it would shut down part of the... Keep looking.
Updated.
Alright, now get to a safe distance before you set it off. To detonate it, hold the ready button and then press the action button.
Я водки не видел уже несколько месяцев. Откуда только берутся эти несматривых мочи? Нас не хватает людей. Если бы нас было в 2 раза больше,
Those are raw diamonds. Collecting them as assets will raise our GMP.
The map has been
That's another one of the targets. Do you see any more?
Понял. Будьте начеку. Выкурите врага. Конец связи.
Where are your friends?
So your suppressor is worn out. That gun will be as loud as any other now. If you have to shoot, be careful.
Extraction failed.
Это Дмитрий-1. Никаких признаков врага. Отзываем поиск. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Не расслабляйтесь. Они еще могут быть рядом. Конец связи.
The enemy's given up their search for you. But they're not giving the all-clear just yet. Stay alert.
Что такое? Солдату! Что происходит?
Дмитрий-1, что случилось? Ответьте, Дмитрий-1. У нас проблема. Тревога по всем постам.
A dumpster. Looks big enough to hide somebody. You could stash a downed enemy in there, or hide in it yourself. Just don't stand too close to me afterward. Either destroy that, or turn it off to shut off all the lights and surveillance cameras in the outpost. But of course, the enemy will realize something's up. If you're gonna do it, be quick. That looks like the target. We know where all the antennas are now. Take out all three of them. How you do it is your call. Good work. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Please select a landing zone. Mission info. Support helicopter requested.
Это КП. Понял. Немедленно проверить и встать оперативную сводку. Конец связи.
Maybe taking one of your friends with you too.
I hear they started calling you Shalashaska in Afghanistan. What's that about?
You know the term Sharashka? It's slang for a suspicious, hastily thrown together organization. The word became associated with a type of forced labor facility in the Soviet Gulag system. OKB scientists and engineers who'd been convicted of crimes were sent to a Sharashka for forced R&D. The Sharashkas were supervised by Lavrenti Beria of the NKVD, the secret police, under the official name Fourth Special Department.
Forced research?
What?
That's not very different from what we do here.
Well, I was about to destroy him.
Diamond Dogs is different. Everyone here believes in you. Regardless of where they came from or why they're here, they revere you.
How sad.
And they're fighting because it was their choice.
And if it wasn't, they'd leave.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Development project has been added.
Yes, mission complete. Boss, that was exceptional. Our army is growing like crazy thanks to you, boss. In fact, it's getting downright crowded around here. To bring a greater number of people on board. We'll need to expand our facilities. To that end, I've created a base development unit. It has two roles, material refinement and platform construction. I'll start with the material refinement part. The base development unit procures material resources on a regular basis according to its level. The materials are stored in containers and placed on the deck of Mother Base. Once they're finished being processed, they can finally be put to use. By using these materials to build new platforms, we'll be able to add a greater number of staff to our ranks. We don't need any specific instructions from you to refine the materials, but I want you to be the one to decide how we construct platforms. Once we have sufficient GMP and the required material resources, you can issue construction orders from your iDroid.
And a bunch of useless people.
Prolonged time in the field is bad for the body and mind. I think it's time you took a break. Do it for me. Come back to Mother Base ASAP.
Man, I could be out there for forever, man. What you want, Ocelot? What you want?
Dee, come back!
I want to go help you rescue.
Mitch. Here's the dog you brought back. Bit of a troublemaker. Not sure about the breed, though. He'll get bigger?
How cute.
Uh-huh. Like this. You know, I can look after him. He's still a pup, so he doesn't listen. I have a feeling someday he'll be useful. I suspect you discovered a real diamond in the rough. With a little polish, I'd say we got a true diamond dog on our hands.
Oh, he's missing an eye, like me.
Dee, right? Ocelot raising hounds. Fine.
Come on, Dee.
Channel request from Langley. We're to find a piece of new American military hardware that's gone missing in the mountains of Afghanistan. It's a difficult mission, but I'd say you're back in top form by now. Check your iDroid for the details.
Development project has been added. Development project has been added.
Expand base facilities. There are plenty of materials. Anyways.
Staff assigned. Development project has been added.
And, I want to get rid of all these people. These are all just basic people.
Select unit.
Dismiss.
Staff dismissed.
Do staff PTSD. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that for episode. Thanks so much for watching. If you could, please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the videos. I'm sure there's gonna be more coming out very soon, and I have a couple other series coming out pretty soon too, so stay tuned. Thank you so much, and goodbye.